So I wanted to do a real quick look at the new Philips Hue Plus versus the old Philips Hue light strip, because there are some differences and it's not really clear from the Philips website what the differences are. So I thought it'd be good just to take a quick look. So in the box, the changes are actually start from the box. The box is a lot smaller than before. The old Philips Hue strip used to come on a reel inside the box. This box is not really much inside. The strip lights are packaged very economically, just on a piece of card, and there are a couple of handy cable ties which are Velcro, which also come in the kit for just keeping the cable tidy later. So we can just set those to one side. One big difference between the old Hue and the new Hue is here's the power plug for the new one, and here's the power plug for the old one. So straight away you can see the difference is that depending on the orientation of the plugs and the sockets, you might struggle for space, because quite often Hue strip lights are hidden out of the way. You can see here that the new one on the left, the socket goes up, and the old one on the right, the socket goes down. So a small difference, but depending on your setup, that may cause you some issues in terms of usage. The other difference is that on the new one, it unplugs like this. On the old one, it's very much a molded cable. So that said, let's plug the lights in and take a quick look. So, wow, a lot of brightness there. Let's just turn those down. Okay, so let's take a look at the actual lights themselves, the actual construction of the light. So here we have the new strip, and here we have the old strip. And the first thing you notice on the old strip is that the lights are actually encapsulated in the strip, very much more so than the new ones are. It's very difficult to tell the difference on film, but when you feel this, it's very much a solid strip, and you probably can't see there, but the lights are actually completely encapsulated. On the new one, it's very different. You can probably hear that it sounds very different, and certainly when you look at the light strip from the side, it's more of a plastic cover, and there's a lot of space and air inside, which makes it feel a lot different. These are completely encapsulated. So I guess that this is a different manufacturing process, and probably quite a lot more cost effective to manufacture, I would imagine, than the previous ones. The layout of the LEDs is also quite different, so let's just line those two up and see if we can see that. So here you can see that on the old Hue strip on the top, it was very much a 3 or 4 way LED, which was used to give all of the different colours. On the new one, it's a very, very different layout. The new one uses 3 LEDs per colour, which enables it to also do a full white, and that's much better than the old strip. The old strips were not able to do a proper white, so that's a big improvement there. It also looks like there's less chips on the strip on the new one. As you can see, if we move along, it looks like there's more chips on the old one, but the new one is 1600 lumens, which is significantly brighter than the old one. Certainly, having just done a quick test of these two next to each other, the difference is huge. So definitely worth considering if you want to take a Philips Hue light strip and actually use it for lighting. I think there were quite a lot of people with the older strips were quite disappointed that when they plugged them in, the lumens were very low, and it was more of a background colour than a lighting feature. And even then, as a background colour, it was very difficult to use the lights as anything more than a wall wash, and even then it was quite a small amount of light. So that's a difference in the physical makeup. Let's have a look at the difference when the lights are actually turned on and running. So let me just turn the strip on here. The biggest difference that I've noticed is certainly, apart from the level of light, is the actual controllability of the light. Now, I've got both of these set up on the same colour, and I'm just going to turn on the old Hue, and I'm going to fade it up really slowly from 0 to full. So let's have a look what happens. And you can see there straight away that even at the lowest level of light, and I'll just see if you can see that on here, it's barely turned on, it jumps straight on, and as I turn that fade her up now, you can see that not a lot starts to happen, and the fader is actually now quite a long way up and still no difference in light. It's perhaps not until you get about halfway there you can see that the light actually starts to change. So what that means is if you're using these in a scene where you've got some light that dims down and slowly fades out, you probably get to about 20% light, and then as you fade, there you go, just a sudden cut off. So for lighting scenes in home automation, if you're trying to do a fade up at sunrise or a fade down at sunset, that sort of effect, the old one is very, very analog. It just chops straight off. The new one, let's turn that on. You can see there straight away, and that's very fine balance. You can see the LEDs have started to come on, and again, that's where I am in terms of the app and the brightness. And as we start to fade up, very, very slowly, you can see that they're starting to come on much, much nicer. And already we've got 3 LEDs on, and I'm only a part way through the fade. So as I fade it up, you can see that's just much more controllable. Much, much nicer. So we're starting to fade up there quite a long way. Obviously it's difficult to tell the brightness on the camera, but that's pretty much faded all the way through. So again, as I fade down, if I was doing a ramp off of the power and just wanted a real nice gentle fade, you can see that these are much more controllable. And fading through. There we go. So in terms of a lighting effect, that is much better and much, much smoother. If I do the two together, you can see there the difference, bang, straight on. So much more controllable, much, much brighter, many more colours. The new strip will go into full white. And also a real nice feature of the new ones is they can be extended up to 10 meters, and really, really easy to extend. You just pull them apart like that. So very, very easy to put together. And then once you've added the extension, you can also cut the extension at the appropriate point. Now the extensions are £20, so £20 for a meter of lights. Yeah, Hue is still very, very expensive, but the impact of it and the effect, especially if you're using an app for things like strobe lights or just a disco effect if you're playing music, they're very, very flexible and still probably one of the best automated lights there are. Work nicely in a zwave system, work nicely on their own, and a really, really good product to build into a home automation system. So there you go, that's the quick difference between the old Hue, which the light strip, to be honest, was it any good? It was okay, but fairly disappointing for levels of lights. The new strip certainly seems to be much, much better. 1600 lumens, very, very bright, nice ramp on and ramp off of control to give you really good control of colour. Genuinely seems a much, much better product, and perhaps the product that the Philips Hue should have been in the first place. But there you go. Certainly worth checking out, but they're the differences.